Brace yourself. Get it passed up anytime now. Collect yourself. Things will never be the same in this sad, sad world. Walk around a lot a bit, trying to make the pieces fit to a puzzle with a million missing pieces. When I'm feeling fine is when I discover that I'm afraid to blow my cover, and there's something very wrong with this. So sit back in your hole.
Do we know what perspective is? Your point of view. Your point of view. Okay. We all have our own perspectives, right? Samir probably doesn't see the world exactly the same way that Jenna sees the world. Jenna probably doesn't see the world exactly the same way that Italia or Shao or I do. Why? We're different people. We've had different experiences, okay? Some of us are men, some of us are women, most of us are young, one of us is old. All right? Many of us come from different places, okay? It's an incredibly diverse student population. It's wonderful. People from all over the world together. And all those differences shape our points of view so that they're not identical. They overlap because we're all people. So we have a lot in common. But we're also very diverse. So we have different perspectives. Take a look at this picture here. What do you see in the picture?
Kids working.
Kids working. Kids working, yeah. And they look like, they're probably a little older. I'm guessing this is college students, right? Because they probably look a little older than high school students, don't they? And it looks like you got a girl in a blue shirt, a couple of dudes in red shirts, a dude in red shirts, green chairs, drinking a Sprite. Everybody sees the same thing, right? What if I told you that there's no color in this picture? This is a black and white picture. This is a black and white picture. There are, on this black and white picture, there are blue dots here, orange dots here, green dots here, more blue, red dots. Your eyes see the dots on this black and white picture, and your mind plays a trick on you. It is an illusion. You are, if you see a girl in a blue shirt and a guy in a red shirt and a full color Sprite bottle, you're hallucinating. You're experiencing something that isn't there because this is the black and white picture. If you don't believe me, come look at it up close. Nobody wants to come look at it up close. Rhea, come look at it up close. I commend you, Rhea.
I don't listen to commands.
Tell them I'm not lying.
Wait, the hell though?
Yep, see? Look in between the dots and you'll see
What the heck?
it is a black and white picture.
Why do I see purple dots
With
here?
dots on it.
No one's there. It's just because
The heck?
Sorry.
My reality is a lie.
Excuse me?
What is this?
What's up, Sponge?
my bad.
Yeah. If you went up close to it, you'd see the black and white picture.
It's just
Your mind has filled in the blanks. So, truth is, in real life, she could be wearing a green shirt, and the guy could be wearing black shirts or brown shirts or any other color. Those chairs could be blue and not green. But what's up? Do you see the chairs? Oh, you see the I'm calling these chairs. I'm assuming this is the back of the chairs in the row in front of
Oh,
them.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So the color is all in your mind. This is only a picture of a lady in a blue shirt from your perspective. Is it false that the girl has a blue shirt? not from your perspective. From an objective view, which is like looking in it like a God's eye view, like what the reality is, not dependent on perspective. There is an answer to the question of what color her shirt was. Her shirt was a color. We don't have access to that objectively true information. We don't have the data. We don't have the information we need. We have only our perspectives. And your perspective, you might have had a change of perspective. So if I'm sitting back here at 5 minutes ago, first looking at the picture from my perspective, I see all these colors. I just think it's a normal picture of students with blue shirts and red shirts. And then when I came up here, now it's like, oh, whoa, dude, no way. Now my perspective shifted. Now that it's pointed out to me, no, it's black and white and it's got some dots on it. Now my perspective shifts. With a shifting perspective, the reality doesn't change, but my reality changes. And as we'll find out in a second, my reality is all I have, the only access I have to the reality. Let's say you're walking your dog. You got a dog? I think I've already asked you that. You have a dog in here? Yeah. Take it for a walk sometime. He's got to do his business. Sometimes. Dog leaves this delightful gift on your neighbor's lawn. All right. Now, is this good or bad?
Bad. For the neighbors?
See, Shao knows the question we've got to ask to
Good
answer
for the
that.
dog.
So, from the neighbor's perspective, is it good or bad? Right, bad. He walks outside on his way to work, and he steps right in, you know, a masterpiece work of art created by your dog. He's not happy. It's bad for him. It's bad from his perspective. But if you were to ask this guy, if you ask this guy, it's a fly. From the fly's perspective,
It's good.
it's dinner time. What? Give me that. That's good stuff. Yeah. It's time. It's the fly is ecstatic at what your dog has created for him. So perspective alters our reality. Not necessarily the reality, but our reality. The universe in here for which you are the center of your interior universe. Not of mine, sorry if that makes you sad, but you are the center of your interior universe. It's controlled by your perspective. Let's say it's 73 degrees Fahrenheit in this classroom. 73 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're from here, and I am, if you're from here, it may be hot. I'm always hot. Right? I would find a thermostat set on 73 terrible. If I were at home, I'd set it on 68. If you're from Tahiti, 73 degree in a room, that'd be cold, right? That's we all have temperature is one thing where we all have very different perspectives. It's why I have my sleeves rolled up, I'm sweating nonstop, and half of my students have sweatshirts on, or sweaters, or fleeces. And it's, you know, which to me is nuts, because it's 90 degrees out. But, from some people's perspective, it's still cold. From the perspective of the surface of the sun, so if you're born and raised, anybody born and raised on the surface of the sun? No. Well, if you were, Fabiola, well, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. We welcome people from everywhere here at Fort Point. If this were your home, 73 degrees Fahrenheit would be what? Freezing. If you're from the icy vacuum of space, 73 degrees would be, you see right there? You see how funny I am and clever and smart? Yeah. See how lucky you are to be in my class, right? From the perspective of the vacuum of space, 73 degrees is what? It's hot, because it's incredibly cold in the vacuum of space. Science tells us that all matter, I don't know if you've learned this yet or not, I don't know your science background. All matter is mostly empty space. Everything's made of atoms, and the atoms are mostly empty space. The amount of material in an atom that's actually stuff is a tiny fraction of the thing. Which means nothing is solid. And yet we look around and we experience all these things as solid. I sat down in this chair confident that I wouldn't plummet through it. It feels like there is a solid chair underneath my rear end holding me up. Okay, as difficult a job as that chair must have, and it feels solid. If I come over here, and I bonk Miss Rhea on the head with this bottle, does it feel solid? Does it feel like you're being bonked with something that's really there? Did you feel it? Yeah, and yet it's mostly empty space. So, by the way, is Miss Rhea's head. Why did you feel anything? Why doesn't this bottle just pass right through you? It's an illusion created by your mind. Solidity isn't real. Most things are nothing. Most things are empty space. Even bricks. I won't hit you with a brick, Ms. Rhea.
Please don't.
Even bricks are mostly empty space. So, when this guy says, ow, stop throwing bricks at my head, should we just tell him to shut up and not worry about it?
Yeah.
Should we? Okay. Is it wrong for him to say that bricks are solid? Probably says, yeah, no, because he's a liar. We know they're not solid because there can't be. Well, I think that most of us in real life, if we encounter somebody who's hit with a brick, so Solange, you're walking to school and you see somebody hit with a brick, are you going to laugh at him and tell him to quit whining, or are you going to feel sorry for him and help him?
Both.
Yeah, Solange's not a monster like the rest of us. She's going to feel sorry for him and try to help him. Why? Because from his perspective, the brick is as solid as it gets. The reality doesn't matter to him. Only his perspective matters. And we would all have the same perspective. Reality could not penetrate our perspectives because we're all subject to the same illusion. The illusion of solidity. We're going to do an experiment on Javier's face now, okay? Let me know if this hurts. No, I'm not going to get you. I would never pick one of my students. Never.
Yeah, really?
Not one I respect.
Oh.
From his perspective, it makes sense to call bricks solid because it is as if they were. Perspectivalism, another important term for you. Perspectivalism, it's a long word with lots of syllables, but wait a minute, we already know what perspective is, so it should be pretty easy to jump to what this word means. Perspectivalism holds that the truth about reality can only be known from particular perspectives. It doesn't claim that there's no such thing as truth, that there's no such thing as the real reality, but it claims that we don't have direct access to it. We can only know reality from our own particular perspectives. So what am I all about? All I want to do with you for the rest of our time together today is introduce myself, let you know who you'll be working with, and then on the second day of class, we'll talk about
the particulars of this course. So my name's Jeff Childers. I'm 44 years old, at least as of recording this video. Knowing how lazy I am, I'll probably reuse this video over and over again. But as of August 9th, 2024, I'm 44 years old. I'm from Joliet, Illinois. I graduated from Minooka Community High School in Illinois in 1997. I hold a Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy from Conception Seminary College in Missouri, and a Master of Arts degree in theology from St. Meinrad Seminary in 2017. I've been teaching at Four Corners Upper School since 2018. I came in here just before Christmas of 2018. And since joining Four Corners, I've taught geography, world history, US government, humanities, classical studies, ethics, world literature, and career planning. And I'm an adjunct professor of theology for Southeastern University and have been for about a year, since August of 2023. I'll tell you a bit about my core values in education. This is something I'm adapted from the way I received my education, not so much my high school, but my college and graduate schools. But both my college and grad school were on the campuses of Benedictine monasteries. And so we're part of an educational tradition that stretches back into the tail end of the Roman era and the beginnings of the Middle Ages, and are governed by some really well thought out philosophical educational principles that have been continued to be developed by Rome. And I like to speak of education being something that has three pillars. In my schools, we spoke of four pillars, but in this adapted version, we'll speak of three pillars. For me, the three pillars of formation. I love that word. Think of how a potter forms clay into a vessel. That's what we're doing here in a school. We're not just here to check some requirements off of a box. We're not just here to be yapped at and to memorize some data and to pass some tests and to provide some data to some administrator. We are here working together in this community in the process of forming one another into the people that we are growing to be, so that we all might flourish together as human persons, achieving the full potential of our dignity and happiness. In this method, the three main pillars of this formation are human formation, academic formation, and vocational formation. Human formation is about what I just described. It's about assisting one another to become the ideal, the most virtuous, the best versions of themselves. It's not so much about being a good student or learning how to be a good engineer or a good lawyer, a good doctor, a good nail tech. It's about learning to be good, to be formed and to grow and to thrive as the best humans possible. The second pillar is academic formation. That's the intellectual angle. That is the development of knowledge. Knowledge for its own sake. Knowledge is one of those things that we call intrinsically good. We don't simply pursue knowledge in order that we may get something else, though we will. The more knowledge you get, the more happiness you'll have, the more money you'll make, all that. That's not why we pursue it. We pursue it because it is good. That's the second pillar of formation, academic formation. And then the third we'll call vocational. The third is that not intrinsic good, but instrumental good. What is good because it gets you something else. So this is the pillar where we look forward to what you want to do and where you want to be in the future, to be prepared for college and to be prepared for a successful career. That is a very important component of education. Many voices, well-intended, but I wholeheartedly believe wrong voices will present that as the most important thing in education, to prepare you for college, to prepare you to make money, to be part of the money-making machine. I say no, that's important, but it's secondary. I believe in, you may not hear it, but in education, in in the education profession, we hear very often the buzzword data-driven education. Right? It's all about getting you to meet certain benchmarks, to check certain accomplishments off the list. It's not cynical, it's very well intentioned, but it's also just, it's not where I'm coming from. I'm not driven by data. I'm not driven by test scores. I'm driven by persons, by people. I'm driven by building a community of dignified young men and young women and empowering them to discover their own voices, to learn how best to thrive in this world as the builders of the future families of this world that will keep our civilization growing. So I am driven by your good, not by your grades. Another of my core values is your right to safety. And here I'm not using the language of, we don't need to get into all the controversies. I'm not using the language of safe space where you have the right to be protected from any ideas you don't already agree with or any information you don't already know. That is childish and harmful. But I am, of course, committed to your actual safety, your physical well-being, and your emotional well-being. You will be emotionally challenged. You will encounter perspectives other than your own. You will encounter things that make you uncomfortable, and I think that's good. But you will not be harassed. You will not be mistreated. You will not be spoken to as if you were anything other than a unique individual of inestimable dignity and value while you're in this room. And if that happens to you in any other room in this building, I will be among the first to advocate on your behalf. That said, I believe you've got the right to be uncomfortable. Okay? We cannot grow. We cannot grow if we are exposed only to the ideas that we already agree with and only to people who see the world the same way we do. You know, if that were the case, I would just stay home and talk to myself in the mirror all day. How dreadfully dull a world would that be? We often hear that diversity is our strength, and I believe that is one of our key strengths in this community. We have people with origins from all over the world, bringing perspectives from all over the world to us, and I love that. Diversity of thought is also our strength. And so, yes, you have not only the obligation, but the right to occasionally be made uncomfortable by the ideas that you encounter in a classroom. One of the things you'll hear me talk about, or you'll hear me say a lot, are these words: ask me after you graduate. Because it is so important to me that my students encounter a multitude of perspectives, different ways of looking from the world, from different historical perspectives, religious perspectives, political perspectives, philosophical perspectives. I'm extra careful about making sure that almost none of those perspectives are advertised as mine. My courses are about giving you space and giving you tools to empower you to build and craft your own well-reasoned worldview, and a well-reasoned worldview that is devoted to the common good. It is not my place to seek to influence you with my own opinions, my own ideas. Doesn't mean you'll never get my opinion on anything. It does mean that when, in those rare cases where I do give my opinion on something that's controversial, I will always make every effort to give you this flashing red light warning. This is just my opinion, and you're not required to share my opinion. But most of the time, when it comes to controversial issues, when it comes to identity issues, political things, religious things, God, Donald Trump, legalize weed, my answer is going to be ask me after you graduate. No teacher in a public school setting is allowed to force political or religious or philosophical views on any student. Because of the kinds of ideas we talk about in my class, I hold myself to a stricter standard on that. Right? Which means if you have another teacher who happens to mention he or she goes to church at this certain place or something like that, it doesn't mean that that teacher is violating any code of ethics, provided they're not treating you any differently if you don't share their perspective. But I prefer to keep all of that stuff outside of the classroom when it comes to my own perspective. So if you want, I've had students who've kept a running list and will interview me at the end of their senior year, and then they will get my whole life story and what I actually think about everything. But until then, remember these words: ask me after you graduate. Really already hit this one. I believe that college and career prep are secondary to human formation and to the passionate pursuit of knowledge for its own sake, but nevertheless are crucially important. And so I do make great effort to see to it that my courses are designed in a way that do adequately help prepare you for college and for careers, although that is not my main focus. Couple of the things that I'm really passionate about, and I try to do in all of my courses. My academic background is in philosophy. The love of wisdom. The philosophy is a love of wisdom that inspires us to seek rational answers to big questions so that we might live and die well. So I'm really passionate about integrating philosophy and the history of ideas, the exploration of where these philosophical, religious, political, cultural ideas and cultural memes come from, and then integrating that into the high school curriculum. And some schools, you'll never talk about philosophy until you get to college. I think that is a shame. And sometimes the notion of integration, the fact that reality is a unified whole, a diverse whole, but a unified whole. And that what you do, I'm using whole with a W, whole as in the entire, that what you do on the other side of the school in the biology class, and then in the algebra class, and then down in the gym, and then up here in the humanities course, that they're not these separate, disconnected things with no relationship to each other, that they are deeply interwoven and integrated and go on to make up a single whole reality. That's an important thing to recognize, because without it, it seems like education just becomes a list of disconnected things that nobody gives about, and it just has to be checked off a box. And my goodness, I was also in high school too. So I know you won't always want to be in this room, but while you're in this room, your time's not going to be wasted. I don't want to waste an hour of your time without trying to build some sense of integration of the different subjects we explore. Not only is there a danger of wasting an hour of your time, there's a danger of wasting 12 years of your time, the 12 years of your time designed to help prepare you for life. And if you enter life unprepared, well, then now you're in danger of wasting all of your life. And last time I checked, we're only promised the one of those. Last thing for today. I'm very big on what I call the critical reappropriation. There's all these big words. What is this, school, man? Why you got to use big words? We're coming to learn stuff. Critical reappropriation of traditional themes, values, stories, and images. So most of my head time is spent in the past, in either in history or in the ideas and the stories that were told by our ancestors and our forebears centuries and even millennia ago. And I value the past greatly. That is not to say that I think we should go back in time to the past. I think that right now, today, this minute, the year 2024 is absolutely the best time to ever have been alive for almost every man, woman, and child on earth by almost every meaningful metric. At the same time, we only got to where we are by building on the thoughts, on the dreams, on the stories, on the hopes, on the traditions, rituals, beliefs of the people that came before us. And I think there's a tendency sometimes in our culture to think that, once we moved on to something new, that we can discard everything that came before us as if somehow our ancestors were stupid. There are things we know that they didn't know, of course, but we only know them because they built the structures that we've inherited that have allowed us to learn these things. So I like to sort of hit the brakes on this turning away from tradition and turning away from the past, and instead look back at what has come before us and say, what of this remains of enduring value? And are there perhaps, I won't often answer the question for you, but I will pose the question to you. Are there elements of our traditions and the traditions of our ancestors and the beliefs of the people beliefs and values of the people that came before us, the way they viewed family, the way they viewed purpose and meaning in life? Are there elements of that we have turned away from that perhaps we could benefit from returning to? It will almost never be my place to propose answers to those questions for you. But I do feel it's an important part of my role as someone guiding you in your formation to raise those questions for you.
Walk around the light a bit, trying to make the pieces fit to a puzzle with a million bits and pieces. When I'm feeling fine is when I discover that I'm afraid to blow my cover, and there's something very wrong with this. So sit back in your hole, or get back in your cave. If I'm going down, I'm taking someone with